Hi everyone, this is Dr. Katherine.Kelly, and for those of you who listen to these videos and also read my newsletter, you'll know that what I've been talking about this March is the flow of your soul. How do you keep that flow going? What do you, if you're clogged up or mucked up, what do you do to clean out so that your life can feel like it is flowing and aligning rather than feeling like it is clogged up and mucky and you're stumbling through it? And so today, one of the things I want to throw out there to you is, what do you do when someone tries to diminish your soul, diminish who you are? And in the words of flow, what do you do when someone tries to block your flow? And to me, blocking your flow is blocking your integrity, blocking who you are, trying to tell you that who you are is not enough, or that something's wrong with you, or that there's something that needs to be changed or altered. But you have to remember that is the other person's opinion. That is where they come from. That is their frame of reference. And nobody can know your soul but you. And so I want to give you a little bit of an example of something that happened for me last week that really kind of blocked me for a few days, and I'm still kind of coming out of it. I may have mentioned this before, but I am in a major, and I say major, training program for publicity, getting yourself out there, figuring out really how to get your word out even more. And I've heard from a couple of the coaches from this program not to use the word soul or soul health, or not to use the word soul strategist, or not to really use those words. And it shocks me. But again, I have to remember I live in the circle of people. I am followed by people who talk about the soul. So my circle is a different circle than a lot of people's circle. But on Friday, I had a coaching session. And I had done a lot of work on Tuesday of last week, typed it up, sent it in to her. I was really excited about it, feeling like, okay, I'm getting this, I'm understanding this, figuring out how to kind of pitch people and get out to the media. And one thing that was really interesting was that she did not like any of it. She said that, again, this was a different coach that said this from the first one. She again said, don't use those words. You're going to scare away the media. They're not going to know who you are. When you talk about the soul, they're going to think you're woo-woo. They're going to think that it's going to go down a wrong path. They're not going to take it. And I throughout that hour, I could feel myself getting deflated. To the point that by the end of that hour, I was thinking, boy, I am barking up the wrong tree. It was very interesting what was happening inside of me, because I was feeling diminished. I was feeling blocked. I was feeling like, that whole sound where you get that, oh, geez, something's not going right and something's flopping here and I'm falling flat. What was interesting is that I did a lot of processing about this over the weekend and talked to some friends about it. And the interesting thing is everybody that I run with says, why would you not incorporate those words? That's what you talk about. That's who you are. And for me, it's like taking the Santa out of Claus. How do you have Claus? If you say, hey, did you see Claus lately? They're not going to know who you are. They're not going to have a clue. You need the Santa part of that. Same thing with me. My being is soul health. My being is the soul identity, and that is what I try to teach people, is how involved we have to be and how integrated we have to be from a soul level in order to do this human condition thing in the first place. And that is why our world is so broken, is that we are so disconnected from our souls. We are so unaware from that soul level of what we need at any given time, to the point where we are paying too much attention to what other people are saying, what we're being told from doctors, through the media, through magazines, through whatever it might be. We are paying so much attention to the world outside of us, and that is stirring so much that is disconnected from who we are, that is blocking our flow. It's diminishing who we are. It's not only diminishing who we are as people, it is diminishing who we are as a community, as a population, as a world, and that's why there is so much loneliness in the world. That's why there's so much sense of disconnection. I read something the other day about the fact that 45% of people feel lonely. And that was shocking to me, because that has grown over the years. And so it's, again, we are feeling so diminished and so not listened to that we are forgetting who we are. And so what do you do when someone tries to diminish your soul? Now, I'll tell you what I did. it was a blessing, actually. My best friend had the day off. I forgot she had the day off. She calls me in the middle of the afternoon. She must have sensed something was going on because she doesn't usually call me in the middle of the afternoon. We talked through this. I told her what was going on, and she actually even got more upset than I did, possibly because she knows who I am from that soul level. And she was talking to me again about how is it that these people are telling you this when you published your book 4 years ago, and I had over 100 radio announcers want to know what soul health was about. And so it was one of those things where I had to really process through this and realize, you know what, I am soul health. I am Dr. Katherine.Kelly. That is what I do. I talk about the soul. I help people evolve, help people understand how this human condition is really just a learning experience that helps us to evolve. And so when someone diminishes your soul, you have to get back in touch with yourself. You have to reconnect with who you are and live it anyway. And I know that that is tough because we have so much static and interference from the world outside, but our soul is screaming for us to be in our truth. That is what alignment is all about. You know, I talk about aligning with spirit for radiant living. Well, when we align, we are living in our truth. We are who we are. I was reading this book the other day too by Brene Brown, and it's basically, I can't remember the actual title, but it's Living in the Wilderness and Braving the Wilderness. That's what she calls it, Braving the Wilderness. And it was so funny because I picked that book up in the afternoon, that Saturday afternoon, and I had it in a stack for a while. I thought, you know what, I feel like I'm supposed to read this now. Start reading it, and it is all about standing in your power, not letting people diminish you, kind of braving the wilderness of the world around you. And so if you haven't read the book and you need a little coaxing into your truth, I would read that because it really helped me realign and helped me realize that really we have to work very hard in our world to not let people, the society, our coworkers, whomever it might be, we have to work very hard not to let people diminish us because that blocks that flow of the soul. It blocks us, it misaligns us, and then what do? We don't feel radiant. We don't feel that radiance that I talk about. And so we let things muck us up, as I say. And it's such an important part of our growth and evolution is to learn what our truth is and stand in it. And so it's been really interesting these last few days to see myself, observe myself going through this process of having felt diminished by this coach on Friday who really, now that I know, she doesn't understand what soul health is. And soul, the word soul to her is scary, which is why she is telling me not to use it when I pitch this media, this bunch of media. So that's the other point I want to make is that whole idea of just because someone doesn't get it or doesn't understand you or get you does not mean that you are wrong. And that is a tough one because we do take in so much information. We do take in so much feedback from the world around us that we assume that if someone's not agreeing with us that we must be wrong. We assume that, oh gosh, my ideas must be bad or faulty if someone's not nodding and smiling, being very excited with you. And so it's that whole idea of realizing just because your truth isn't understood or the people don't get it or it's not the language they speak does not mean that you are wrong. It does not mean that your integrity is faulty. It does not mean that your soul is tainted in some way. So we have to just keep working on that whole idea of aligning with ourselves regardless of what the world thinks. And there's so many ways that this thing applies. And it's just such an important part of becoming our souls, evolving. One other thing I want to throw in there, and I say this left and right with clients, is the whole idea that we can go through so many tragic, terrible things in our world. And the challenge is that, you know, we get through those somehow. The biggest challenge, though, is turning the mirror on ourselves to look and observe and go, whoa, okay, I need to work on this. That, to me, is the biggest challenge of the human condition, which is also the biggest challenge of working through our evolution of our soul. Because we have to look at ourselves, we have to observe, and we have to figure out what is our truth. And I said this yesterday, I say this to clients, I've said this on videos, you know, I think finding our purpose can be a very dangerous thing, but finding our truth is magic. So finding our truth is the magic that helps align us. And over the weekend, when I really was having to process all of this, about what this coach was telling me, it just didn't fit. And like I said earlier, it's like taking the Santa out of Claus. You take the soul health out of what I do, and I got nothing. I got nothing to talk about, because this is who I am. This is my path. This is what I know I'm supposed to be teaching the world. And so when we have those identity crises, when we have those times when someone's really challenging us or trying to diminish us, it's probably because they don't understand, and that's okay if they don't. And it's the bravest thing you can do is stand in your truth and stand in your power anyway. And I'm guessing anybody who watches this video is thinking through, wow, okay, that is the toughest thing in the world, is to stand in your truth anyway. So if it means getting out of a bad relationship, if it means changing a career that was supposed to be glorious and it turned out to be awful, and you need to go into basket weaving or go into writing or go into being a chef or going to whatever it is that is more aligned with who you are, you have to do it, because anything that is misaligned from who you are, anything that takes you off of that flow, off of that track of being, again, in your flow, but in your power, it's going to misalign you. That's where the wiltiness of our lives come in. That's when our human condition gets the best of us. So I just wanted to press this today, and I know this is a longer video than normal, but it's just so important for us to really take a look at who we are and live it, no matter what. And I was challenged this since Friday to really do this. It's really interesting. I had another session with a different coach yesterday, and I was kind of like, ugh, I don't really want to do this after Friday, but I showed up. And I basically told him what had happened, and basically told him everything I just said in the video, that you know, it felt diminishing. I felt deflated. I felt like, okay, what the heck am I doing all this for? And so, but I had come to the conclusion, and I told him this, that if people don't want to hear, if the people at this event that I'm going to in April don't want to hear about soul health, then I'm really not speaking to the people who want to hear it anyway and need to hear it. They're not ready to hear it if that's what happens. The funny thing is he said, you need to speak it anyway. He said, if that's who you are and that is your message, you will lose steam if you don't. And that's where I'm coming from. You know, like I said, if you take the soul health out of Dr. Katherine.T.Kelly, I'm nothing, because this is who I am. So remember, what is it that you really stand for? What is it that defines you? What is it that brings you into that alignment and makes you know, yeah, I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right thing. And be brave doing it, because there's probably going to be a lot of opportunity to challenge your braveness in the process of becoming you. And that is a big one right there, is braving that possibility that someone's going to denounce or diminish who you are in the process of becoming you. That's unfortunately a big reality of the human condition. So think about this. What has diminished your soul? Who has diminished your soul? And have they done it knowingly or unknowingly? And what do you do about that in terms of getting yourself back in your truth? How do you get that ego strength, as psychologists call it? How do you get into that space where you brave being you? Because braving being you is the only path that you will have to soul health. So I would love to hear what you're thinking. I would love to hear about your own stories. I hear people talk about these videos in sessions, or they email me or whatever, and whatever way that you want to contact me, I would love to hear how you are braving your soul right now, because this is such a big thing in our evolution, and I'm seeing it. You know, the women's movement, everything that's happening with the harassment charges, these rallies that are happening, or marches that are happening about gun control. I mean, all of this is about speaking your truth and braving it. And I just want to hear, how are you braving your truth? How are you braving your soul right now? Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. For more information, go to www.DrKatherineT.Kelly.com. You can comment on this. You can email me. Whatever you'd like to do. I'd love to hear from you, because this is such an important part of our evolution. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.